Hi, and welcome to the Tech Toolbox. We're going to talk today about some common terms that we can all use to describe the technology that we're using day to day. Let's start off with the tech components that you're most likely to be using. A device is any tool that's or electronic that you're using to connect to the internet or to connect digitally to something else. So this could be your Chromebook, your iPad, your tablet, your laptop, your desktop, your phone, or other electronic. A monitor is the part of the computer or it can be a standalone device that displays information visually through pictures and text. Specifically, we're talking about computer monitors, but it can also be a TV or a projector screen or any other visual display device. In this context, we're talking about a screen as the location of where you are projecting an image onto. So you can have this be on the wall in a classroom, or it can be a wall, it could be a sheet, it can be an actual a formal screen, it can be a lot of different things. This term can be confusing because people often use it also for the internal display within your computer and what you actually see on the screen of your device. But a screen is anywhere that an image is being projected. Another thing that we're going to talk about today is the Elmo components. So oftentimes people refer to the whole setup as their Elmo, but your Elmo itself is broken into different pieces. Elmo is actually the brand that we mostly have in our schools, but it can be other devices as well. It's broken up into the projector, which is the first one. The projector is actually what shines a light through it and projects the image onto a screen. The document camera, which is any camera that is set up to record in real time images of what's put underneath it. Sometimes phones can be set up to act as document cameras. And the cart is the workspace that all of these devices go onto. And oftentimes people talk about their cart as the whole setup. But again, it's important to remember that these are each individual components within that setup. So when you open up your computer, it's important to know what you're looking at. Your browser is the way that you access the internet. And so on a Chromebook, we access through Chrome. On other devices, we might be accessing through Safari, Firefox, Explorer. These are all different kinds of browsers, and they will all open the internet when you click on them. Once you have it open, your window is what's going to be showing, and the window is everything that you see when you open your browser. Your window can hold tabs inside of it, but you can also have multiple windows on your desktop when you're looking through your multiple windows. So your multiple windows could be either stacked on top of each other on your desktop or spread out between multiple desktops or multiple monitors or screens. A tab is within the window. The tab is a certain website or link that you've opened, and it is one place that you can be. You can have multiple tabs going simultaneously, and closing a tab does not always close the window. And then all of this makes up your internal display. When you are on a tablet or a Chromebook or a laptop, anything that has the whole device in one piece, this is your internal display, what you're actually seeing. It's not being moved out into a projector or a monitor. It's all in one piece. It's the internal display. You can, however, set up multiple screens or monitors. The images here show some examples of ways that those can be set up. So your Chromebook can be attached to another monitor and they can be mirroring each other. So they can be showing the same thing, or they can be extended. So one has one set of information, one window on it, and another has another window or information on it. This could be running, for example, the Google Meet on one monitor or on the internal display, and then it can have whatever you're showing in the Google Meet on the other monitor or the internal display. So you can spread those out between devices. You can also use a projector similarly to set that up as an extension of your screen, and you can either mirror to it so it's showing exactly what you're seeing, or it can act as a second monitor or second screen. These are all going to connect with cords, physically connect. Generally speaking, some schools do have setups for wireless connection, but generally speaking, they're going to be a wired connection, and this wired connection is going to come through the cords that have been provided. But let's talk a little bit about cords. So many cords. So cords are broken up on either end into what is considered connectors or ports. Your connectors are the sort of external connection, and so these are broken up into different types. You have the HDMI, which is often used for computers. It's also used for a lot of TVs right now. They're pretty common, and they should be sort of familiar. Lots of our projectors have HDMI connections, but not all of them. Some of them also have VGA connections. You might recognize VGA connections from your desktops when we had desktops in the classrooms. You'll also notice that the USB-A is probably pretty familiar. This is what we've sort of generally called the USB connection for a long time. There is an updated version of that right below it, which is the USB-C. The industry standard is moving towards the USB-C universally. This will cut down on how many different connecting types there are. You'll also notice on the right-hand side the Lightning connector and the mini display or the Thunderbolt connector. Both of those are most common in Apple products. So these are your charging cords and also your connecting cords for Apple products. They do connect to other devices at times, but most common they're in Apple devices. All of these connectors connect with the ports, and so we have images here of all the different ports. These are what you're going to see on the sides of your Chromebook or the back of your projector or in the different devices, and so this is just a good visual way to look at how they all connect to each other. And then cords, and when we talk about cords, the sort of most important part is thinking about how cords are named. It's really hard to look up the cord you need if you don't know how cords are named. And so cords are generally named based on the connectors on either side of them. So some have the same connectors on either side. So you'll see these are VGA to VGA, HDMI to HDMI, or USB-C to USB-C. We'd name those by saying like what it is to what it is. So HDMI to HDMI. This names that cord, and it's sort of something you can look up if you're looking to purchase or examine or figure out if you have the right cords. On the other side, you also have cords that are different on each end. This is really common when I think about like an iPhone or an iPad charging cord. It is a lightning cord on one side, it's a lightning connector on one side, and a USB-A on the other side. You might see cords that go back and forth between different connection types. Again, same naming convention. We name what it is to what it is. So you see here a lightning to a USB-A. You see also an HDMI to a Thunderbolt, and then a VGA to an HDMI. So that would be how you'd name each of those. And then additionally, when we have a cord, an existing cord that doesn't connect to what we're looking for it to connect to, we can use either an adapter or a dongle to change the way that connects. Generally speaking, you can't really get away with more than one adapter or dongle. It starts to break down the quality of the visuals or the audio that's being shared. But in general, you can attach an adapter or dongle, and those are named, again, based on the port that they have and the connector that they have. So these can be single ports or multiple ports. Some of them are set up to be multiple. So you'll see there's one here that's a VGA and an HDMI to a USB-C, it looks like. And again, as you get to know these names, it becomes much easier to look up what you're needing. Now that we've got them physically connected, the monitor's physically connected to your device or whatever you're physically connecting, you need to worry about the settings for the displays. So I'm going to talk through the steps here, and then we'll look through the steps also But generally speaking, you're going to go from into your settings and get to the display. You're going to decide if you want to do a mirror or an extension of your desktop. So are you mirroring so it matches, or are you extending so you have two screens that you're working with? You can adjust the placement of that screen, and then you can make any other adjustments you need to. To get to the display setting, what you'll need to do is click the three dots in the top right corner I apologize, you'll need to click the time in the bottom right corner. You'll click the time in the bottom right corner and go to settings. And then once you're in settings, you're going to look for device, which is right here, and then displays, which is right here. So that will get you to your display settings. And then once you're in your display settings, it will look like this. If you want to mirror your display so they look the same, you'll simply need to click the mirror button, and this will stack them so that they are mirrored so you can see the same thing on both of your screens. If you do decide to extend your display or extend your screen so that you have two different things happening, you will want to uncheck the mirror, and these will appear side by default, but you can click on this box here and drag and drop it to where you need it to be. In general, it really helps to drag and drop it to mimic where it will physically be in the space. So for example, if my internal display is my Chromebook and I'm projecting onto a screen in the classroom using a projector, I might want to place that box on top so that when I move up, I'm basically pushing my mouse up to get to that piece. Otherwise, I can put it to the right or the left depending on where it's physically located. Also, this is where you can adjust any other changes you need for the display, what type of screen, what display size, what resolution, orientation, all of those pieces are done in the bottom half of this. And you can click on either the extended screen or the internal display. In this example here, Colossus is the name of the monitor. It's probably the brand. Yours is unlikely to be named Colossus. It would be named whatever the sort of name is for the extended monitor you're using. The last part we're going to talk today about is connecting to the Wi-Fi in the school buildings. School managed devices are going to automatically connect to the WPS laptops. If they do not connect, you can go and again click the time in the bottom right hand corner, and there's a toggle switch to turn on and off the Wi-Fi. That's a good first step to just see if it will reconnect. And then you can contact your building IT tech by putting in a Zendesk ticket through Clever. When you put in your Zendesk ticket through Clever, it's important to list the room number that the issue was happening in, because they can look at the specific access points. These pieces on the ceiling that show that actually push out the internet, the Wi-Fi, are called access points, and these can be monitored also. So you can also check the lights on those to see if they're working. If you are using a personal device, it is important that you are on the WPS staff. This will give you the best connection. And the way you get onto the WPS staff is you choose that as your Wi-Fi, and then you're going to go prompted to log in. You're going to use your domain. This is the same domain that you use to sign into Team Online. Most likely it's schools. And then a forward slash. It's important to do a forward slash and not a backslash. And then your username for your Worcester Public Schools email. So this could be most likely last name, first initial. If you are an admin, you're more likely to be in the CAB admin, but you can check on Team Online to see which one you sign in using, and then it'll just be your general password. On some devices, you need to check these settings at the bottom here, so I will include these in the slides. What I would say is try signing in, and if for some reason it fails, you're going to use these settings as your guide for what settings need to be in place. Finally, if you're finding that your device is slowing down, there are a few things that can slow down our devices. And I think it's important that we break apart the three sort of places where connections can fall short. So it can be a Wi-Fi issue. What you should probably do is disconnect and reconnect the Wi-Fi, check if others are having similar issues as whether, the scope of the issue, and then check if the light is on the access point. This is all information that you can include in that Zendesk ticket, and the more information you include, the more likely they can quickly and accurately fix that issue. The other thing that might happen is your CPU, which is a term for your processing speed and your memory space. And so this is just going to happen when your device gets overloaded. So you're going to want to make sure to close unnecessary programs, windows, or tabs. Try restarting. If you're on a Chromebook, you can remove yourself as a user from the device and then re-add yourself. This will clear your local data. You can clear your browsing data by when you have one of your windows open, clicking the three dots in the top right-hand corner, going to More Tools, and then Clear Browsing Data is one of the options. And you can turn off or remove unnecessary extensions. These will all be things that will help support the running of your device. Additionally, these issues can sometimes be happening with the program or device. If it is something that if you do have some access to the internet, it's always great to do a Google search of the website and see if they're having some sort of outage. Your search term might be like Lexia outage, Clever outage, and this will give you information. Most websites report on their outages. It'll just, again, give you an idea of the scope of the issue. You can try refreshing the site or the program, and you can also try back a little later. Hopefully these tips are helpful and they get us all on the same page. Thank you.